All right, everybody. Hi, welcome. We're going to be doing. We're going to be getting things set up for our long section through our building. Um, we're also going to be laying out some basics. I'm going to show you by example the basics of how to construct an interior elevation. Now, it might seem a little messy. Things might be going a little strange. They might look a little unusual for a while. I apologize in advance. Um, I'm sort of kind of making this up as I go because I can. We're kind of at the point where I can only teach you by example the um, the general principles involved. You're going to have to take these general principles and then begin using them for the specific things that are happening in your plan. Now you can see I've got this is all the information that I've been using for creating my videos. So I'm starting off at a neutral spot for everyone to watch what's going on. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, now you see I've got AutoCAD 2018 loaded up in the back. Right now you notice my taskbar and everything is different because I'm running Windows 7. I'm trying something different to create all my videos with. Um, so here we go. Here's the template that I've created, and I'm going to, because I've already got AutoCAD 2018 open, I'm going to double click my template, and this should start a brand new file using my template as the go by. So here we are. It's finishing loading everything up. Okay, take that. And I'm going to see if I can shrink that down. Yeah, it's giving me some grief there. Let's anchor that. Hopefully this isn't going to break anything. There's some funny little glitches with me docking things like that. I'm going to type XR at the command prompt. I'm going to get my XREF window open. And that was a right click on this, and I'm going to anchor that over on the right so it's always there. When I mouse over it, it'll show up, and when I take my mouse away, it'll disappear. This is a great way that you can that you can have these property windows open, but they're not always visible. They're there when you need them, and they're not there when you don't need them. So that was me just doing a little house cleaning for that. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, because I don't like to see them, is I'm going to turn my grids off, and I'm going to make my reference layer. Scroll through my list here. I'm sorry, my viewport layer is going to be my current layer. And I'm going to click on Layout 1. Double click in there. Okay, my grid is off, just exactly the way I want it. I'm going to double click back outside the viewport. Now, some of you may have seen this in class. Sometimes I will say select your viewport. That means you're actually going to click on the line for the viewport. If I say, I'm going to click cancel to deselect that. If I say double click inside your viewport, you see my crosshairs are inside that bounding rectangle for the viewport, and I'll double click. If I say double click outside your viewport, that's double click outside your viewport. Okay, quit. Now, some of you may have noticed, you see how my screen is doing that flickering there? This is a little thing. Some of you may have this problem, some of you don't. You can turn this feature on or off. It totally depends on whether or not you're running into it. My layout tabs and my coordinates are actually starting to fight with one another, because you'll see when I double click here in my viewport, you'll notice that this string along here got longer, and as I move my coordinates around, whoop, there it went. There it is. Now, if I move my mouse right now, it'll disappear. But you'll notice if you look down where it says layout 1, layout 2, and you see the coordinates, that they're not in alignment anymore. They're bumped. The layout tabs, like in Excel, are riding above that imaginary line that contains all the icons starting on the right hand side. So if I move my mouse again and change my coordinates, that line starting from the right becomes a little shorter where my coordinates are, because my coordinates are right here. That line becomes shorter, and so there's enough room to actually contain all the information for my tab. Just to get rid of that flickering, because that drives everybody crazy that experiences it for a little while. If I right click on one of these layout tabs, I can say dock above status bar, and that permanently moves this up here, so I don't ever have to worry about that funny little graphical glitch showing up again. Okay, that was just something totally happened on the fly, and we'll move on from now. I'm going to right click again where it says Layout 1, come up to Page Setup Manager. What we're going to do is we're going to fix our page setup in our template, so as we use it in future sheets, automatically fixed. Okay, so this is our layout 1. I'll click Modify, and if you don't remember the settings, under here for name, we will click. Now there's some extras here because these are actually showing up because these are the printers that I have on our server. You're not going to see those. Let's scroll down to where it says AutoCAD PDF General Documentation. The paper size, we're going to change that. Scroll up just a hair. ANSI full bleed 17 by 11. Change plot style table to monochrome and click OK. Click Close. Now our paper space setup is already pre-configured. So next time we start a new file with this template, which will be in just a minute, we don't have to manually set up our paper space or our page layout. Go back, click on Model, and I'm going to come up to the AutoCAD menu, Save As, Drawing. I'm going to change this to DWT, and this whisks me away to that magical place deep in the belly of AutoCAD land where I may never find it again if I need to do what I'm doing in class. I'm going to change this to the location where you actually have your, here we go, template. And I'm going to save as right on top of it. Now you'll notice I went through, I'm actually using this through my OneDrive. This is a lot like Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that. If you go to your, if you're accessing this data on your flash drive, then do it there. I'm doing some synchronization stuff just so I have everything with me, and I've got my stuff in multiple places all at once. So that's why I'm coming here. You can also see I have folders for creating the videos versus my 501, which is the AM class, versus the 502, which is the PM class. So I'm working specifically with this template here. Save as. Yes, I want to replace it. Project template. Click OK. So I've just done a save as. Okay, so to back up, started a brand new file using my template. I made modifications to my template and then did a save as and overwrote the template. So now I'm going to close this. And now when I start a brand new file, so you can see here's a backup file. So I can delete that. So when I start a brand new file by double clicking, and it says brand new drawing up here, that when I come to my layout, my paper space is already configured and ready to go, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. I'm going to do a quick little look here at my layer dialog. I'm going to make sure that everything that I have is the stuff that I need. I've noticed walking around class, some of you don't have all the layers configured. Some of you are missing information. By all means, let's just make sure that all the information is proper in your template. If you need to stop this video, you need to go back to the creating layers and how to create layers in your template. Do it. It'll be I promise you, it'll be a handy thing for you to take care of. So sorry, I'm getting a couple of work emails here. I'm pretty sure that I've got everything set. The biggie that I'm worried about is in my general layers. I want to make sure that I have my general detail line weights here, and that's fine. This particular drawing that we're about to create, I don't need any new construction layers. So I'm going to highlight them all and I'm going to delete them. I don't need existing to remain layers. I'm going to highlight them all and I'm going to delete them. So that also means that I don't need these filters. So technically, for this particular file, I don't even need the distinction between detailed and general because there's really not a whole lot there. So I'm going to delete these as well. It's always easier to start with too much stuff and then delete the things that you know you're not going to need than do it the other way around. Start from scratch and then build everything up. We've started from scratch and done the paper space setup multiple times. We've created layers and done that. We've gone through that exercise of starting from scratch multiple times. Here we are taking that concept and just flipping it around backwards. also don't need title block layers in this file because my title block layers live in my title block. So I'm going to delete those. I'm going to make my XREF layer my current layer. So I can either double click right now, or I can come up and I can click that icon with the green checkbox on it. Either way, same thing. So that's my current layer. I'm going to come up here. I'm looking at A101, and I'm going to right click and hold on to it with my right mouse right click button. Right click, drag and drop onto my window, onto my drawing window, let go. This is the only way I can get this dialog to show up. If you don't get this dialog to show up, then you're using your left click mouse button instead of your right click mouse button. If that happens, I'm going to do this the wrong way to show you what needs to happen afterwards. If you hold down with your left mouse button and drag and drop, that's inserting your CAD file into this drawing. If you click escape, you have still made a block of your A101 file that now lives in this file. So if I go and try to right click and bring it across and create an XREF, it looks like nothing has happened. If I push F2 on my keyboard, I'll get my text window, and it will say, okay, here's my insert, here's my XREF, such and such and all this stuff is going on. I have no idea what the interest in conversion is. It looks like something weird just happened. If I do a zoom extents, there's nothing there. That's because my insertion, when I did the left click drag and drop to get my my floor plan file in here, it creates a block of the file that creates a block of A101. I cannot reference a file A101 that I'm using as a block. So the only way to fix this problem is I have to type U at the command prompt. So I'll undo, and it says undo zoom. Press return again. Undo group. That's probably my XREF command. I'll undo one more time. There it is right there. Is that undo to get past the insert. So now that my insert command, that left click drag and drop, has been undone and removed from the file, removed from this file, now I can right click, drag and drop, bring over, create XREF, and there it is. So that's the only way to get around that. Okay, I'm going to select my block, or select my reference. I'm going to click on the grip. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to left click in my title block and type 0, 0, title block, my text area. And now I'm going to zoom extents. I can either double click my scroll wheel. It's a quick painless way of doing it. I'll undo that zoom command, or I can type Z space E space at the command prompt, and it will do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to come over here. We're working with scales, and I need to change my scale here. I'm going to make this the same as all the other drawings that we've been working on so far, so 1/4 inch. So now my line types are looking correct. Now I'm going to save my file. So I can either Control S or come up here to the save icon, or come to the AutoCAD menu and click save. Make sure here I am in my where I'm keeping all my my files for this. The name of this file is going to be A201. Now, the easy way to remember the difference between the 100 series, what's called the 100 series, so there's 101, 102, and the 200 series, most companies have a standard where one series is one type of drawing. All your plans are going to be in the 100s. All your sections would be in the 200s. All your elevations might be in 3. They might be combined with 2. You've got the 400s, which can be details, and 500s, which are schedules, and the 600s, and you can work your way through it. And every company does something a little bit different. So what I'm doing here is all the 100s are the plan sheets. 200s are going to be sections and elevations, and that'll work fine for what we're doing here in class. So quick recap: we've made a modification to the template, we've created a brand new file, we've referenced this in, and we've saved it. I'm going to come back to our layout. I'm going to select our layout, make that active. I'm going to right click and say rename, and this is going to be longitudinal section, singular, not plural. There we go. Okay. I'm still, my XREF layer is still current. So I'll come back here. Here's my title block. So I'm going to right click, drag and drop, create XREF. Oh, I don't like it when this happens. Really don't like it when this happens. Undo. But if this does happen, I've already opened my XREF dialog box. Not found. Interesting. So if I right click and attach, will it let me do that? Okay, it's asking me where do I want to look for this thing. That's what's happening. So I need to navigate back to my documents. So in my particular case, because when I did the last video and when I'm doing this video, I'm working on a different machine, it's giving me this issue. CVAD video title block. There we go. Insert the scale. I want it all to be the same size. We'll make it 0.5, except this time you specify on the screen. Path type is relative or none. Click OK. And it's still giving me that. That's just awesome. I'm going to have to dig into that. All right, maybe I'll just do this. We'll get a little video editing done, and I'll get this figured out here. Let's see. Do this. Right click, open. Okay, I'm gonna highlight that. Change from attached to overlay. Save it. Go back to 201. Yes, reload it. XREF. Now I can take the UNT title block and I can detach it from here. And now, because I don't have a conflicting definition, I should be able to create my reference. There it is. Now I can select it. Now I can move it. And it still didn't line up right. Right click, scale, base point right there, 0.5. Zoom extents, that's looking the way it needs to look. Back to A01, A101. Grab a hold of my title block. Change that from overlay to attach. Actually, I'll get into that. I'll do a separate video on the difference between an overlay and attachment. I will explain this, I promise. Right now, okay, that's done. File, save, close. Do I want to reload it? Yes, I'll reload it. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. Sheet 201 is doing what it needs to do. Okay. I will select my viewport and use my grips. Make it bigger. Double click inside my viewport. Set my scale to 1/4 inch to match everything else we've been doing. That's looking pretty close. All right. Click on that. Double click outside my viewport. It's current now. It's locked. It's doing what it needs to do. Okay. So that's a little bit of off-the-cuff troubleshooting on why references aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Again, the very next video is going to be the difference between an overlay reference and an attachment reference. You're not going to see a whole lot of this come up, but it apparently is becoming an issue for those of us who are moving back and forth between files and or machines rather, and more importantly, the machines are looking, the computers we're using are looking in different places for the files that we've been using. That's what's going to cause this whole thing to do what it's doing. So I'm going to save my file, and we'll see you guys back in the next video.